Welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to talk you through how to play as an effective winger. Okay, so first of all, what's the role of a winger? Well, a winger's role these days is to provide width for your team and also create chances by crossing the ball, linking up with play inside, and also taking on defenders and scoring goals yourself. I say these days because not so long ago, a winger's main job will be to get to the bar line and just whip crosses in. And so scoring goals and linking up with midfield play wasn't really part of a winger's role back then. But obviously, as we see in today's game, being able to play in pockets and definitely being able to score goals is really important for wingers. So now that we've spoken a bit about the role of a winger, let's actually break down the different attributes that make a winger really effective. And so first up, we have positioning. So as a winger, ideally you want to stay pretty wide, that way you're able to stretch the opponent's defense. This then opens up more space for your teammates and creates more opportunities for your team to attack, especially for midfielders want to get more forward to get more shots off at goal. Also, I'll say in terms of receiving the ball, you always want to try and take the ball on your back foot. That way your first touch opens up the game in front of you, instead of taking your first touch backwards with your front foot and then having to take extra touches to turn. Now, of course, positioning yourself out wide and getting crosses in is important, but like we mentioned earlier, more and more wingers these days have the ability and the awareness to be able to play in pockets and in tight areas. And so often you see wingers take up positions where they're in between the fullback and the centre back. And so if you can kind of be like this, where you're not only effective out wide, but you're also able to sometimes come inside and position yourself in between the fullback and the centre back to maybe make a run in between them or receive the ball in a half turn. And instead of running at the fullback, you now actually run at the centre back, which means if you can beat the centre back or even get half a yard, you can then get a shot off at goal and create chances to score goals yourself. This will make you more versatile and more effective as a winger in terms of positioning. So that's basically positioning covered. Now we're going to talk about dribbling and 1v1 situations. So as an effective winger, your ability to dribble and take on defenders on 1v1 situations is pretty important. And so if your dribbling or ball control isn't really that good, then you are going to really struggle to be effective in those situations. And as a winger, this is where you really want to show your ability as a player. You know, it's okay if your passing isn't super amazing as a winger or your shooting could use a little work, but all of that would instantly get overlooked if you can really show your ability to beat your defender and get shots and crosses off. Trust me, I've seen and played with wingers that are super simple, super safe, don't really take risk. Numbers wise, they look amazing. 20 out of 20 passes completed. They don't really lose the ball, but are not really effective as wingers. Whereas again, I've seen and played with wingers, including being a winger myself, where 100% we may take more risks and maybe lose the ball a bit more, but so much more effective at being our defender, creating more chances, and just being more of a threat to the opposition. You will know if you're an effective winger if suddenly the fullback doesn't want to really get tight to you anymore, or every time you get the ball, there's always two players on you, so they've doubled up on you. Or if you're dribbling at the defender with pace and you can see by the look on his face that he's absolutely terrified to make a challenge on you, and so he backs off and gives you more space than necessary. Trust me, there's no better feeling as a winger when you have the upper hand and he's literally shit scared of you. And so if you can be that type of winger where you're brave and aggressive with your dribbling, and your teammates and the crowd get really excited when you're 1v1 with the fullback, you're going to be really effective. And remember, coaches, scouts, fans watching always remember the players that excite them and affect the game, whether it be with their dribbling, their speed, or even something like their passing, as opposed to the player who just plays it safe and doesn't really want to be seen making mistakes. And so obviously, if you want to be effective in those 1v1s, you have to have that aggressive dribbling that makes defenders scared. It's important that you work on your dribble speed, as well as your change of direction and your agility. And don't be afraid to use a few skill moves, especially if you enjoy them or if you see yourself as a tricky player. I do have a few training session videos on the channel that help with these attributes, so feel free to have a look and check those out. So now we're going to talk a bit about end product, which consists of crossing, passing, and shooting. There's nothing more frustrating as a teammate or a coach or even a fan watching if a winger doesn't have end product. And like we mentioned earlier, these days wingers are becoming more and more responsible for contributing to more goals and assists. And it's seen as a requirement now to hit higher numbers when it comes to goals and assists. And so for you to be effective in terms of hitting higher numbers, you need to have good end product. So as a winger, you should be able to cross the ball accurately, which means doing your best to try and pick out a teammate or cross the ball in a dangerous area. So whether that be whipping it across the box or doing a cutback for your teammate, but you should really aim to have good end product with your crosses. So this means working on your delivery in wide areas and also purposely aiming to pick out teammates. Even if it doesn't come off, at least you actually try to pick out someone as opposed to just randomly crossing it and hoping that someone gets on the end of it. Another form of end product as a winger is your ability to get shots off. Whether that be you making a good run and someone picking you out, that way you get a chance at goal, or you dribbling and getting half a yard on the defender to get a shot off at goal. It's important that you try and get some sort of shot off to make the keeper work. To improve this, you want to practice cutting inside just outside the box and shooting if you're an inverted winger. For example, if you're right foot and you play on the left, you can practice cutting inside on your strong foot and shooting at goal. Or if you play on the left and you're also left footed, you can still practice cutting inside, you just may need to shift it back onto your strong foot and shoot across goal. But to be fair, you can always learn to cut inside with a weaker foot and still get shots off. Being confident with both feet just makes you a better overall player and a more effective winger, because now you can operate from both wings, whether it's left or right. And finally, another good form of end product is passing. Your ability to link up with midfielders or maybe find that final pass that gets you an assist can be really important. I will say though, as a winger, it's probably more better to focus on shooting and crossing in terms of end product. However, if you appreciate more of the quick passing side of things, or you enjoy picking out teammates and getting assists, then by all means, use this to be an effective winger. Now, this doesn't mean every time you receive the ball as a winger, you just always pass it. You still aim and look to beat the defender and show some of those winger attributes that we talked about. Then you can also throw in a few link-up passes or through balls if that's also part of your game. Players like Bernardo Silva, Eden Hazard and Phil Foden can all do this, where they have the ability to be an effective winger and use their dribbling to beat defenders. But they also have the ability to play inside and use short, intricate passes or even pick out a teammate with a through ball. And so if this is more of your playing style, I suggest watching these type of plays to improve. So that's basically it in terms of covering end product. Now I want to talk a little bit about attribute that's kind of underrated as a winger, and that's defending. As a winger, you do have defensive responsibilities as well. So being able to track back and help your fullback, as well as being able to press the opponent to win the ball back and maybe starting a counter-attack, can be really important as a winger. Not only will this make you a better overall winger, but this will also make you a more industrial player for your team. And trust me, coaches love when wingers have amazing ability going forward, but also show ability in their defensive work. And so it'll be in your best interest to learn how to press effectively and also learn how to win the ball back. This doesn't mean you need to learn how to tackle or slide tackle or anything like that. You're not a fullback. Most of it is just down to hard work on the pitch and just running for your team defensively. Managers love attacking players that run just as hard for defending as they do for attacking. So try not to let anyone outwork you, even if it's defensively. And so that's basically everything covered in terms of being an effective winger. I really hope this video helped you, and if you are looking to grow as a player, I do have a football training community that helps players improve. And so if you want to check that out, it's just the first link in the description. Until next time, keep improving, and I'll see you for the next video.